portion of this video is sponsored by Sonicfoam. So Earfun has dropped the Air Pro 4, retail price $89 US. Already you can get them a bit cheaper. Now today I'll be scoring and ranking them against 13 of the best earbuds under $100 US. There's a total of 10 categories and the competition is super tight. The value that you get today in this price range is solid. And here's my current scoring, and you can see there the Earfun Air Pro 3 and Free Pro 3 are up there in the high ranking. But are they going to be able to dethrone the current king, the OnePlus Buds 3, which have a score of 85 out of 100? As always, you can download the spreadsheet for free, linked below. You can customize the scoring, compare everything easily. I'll explain more about that later though. Now let's start with category 1, comfort. Now the design here is basically the exact same as the Air Pro 3. It is slightly smaller. You might not be able to notice it on camera, but either way, the fit is great. It's a super comfortable fit, no complaints here. And it's a size where it should work fine for smaller ears. And you do get 5 sizes of pretty high quality ear tips, which have nice grip to them. So I'm scoring the buds an 8 out of 10. As I kind of do for most buds, because this is just how they fit me. Fit's always going to be a little bit different for everyone. But for most ears, you should be fine. Now, category 2 is the security of the fit. And I'm also scoring them an 8 out of 10 here. Mainly because it's just a regular stem earbud, but with the solid grip you get from the ear tips, these buds lock in my ears really well. I would actually score them high for myself, but again, I keep the fit scoring pretty even unless there's an obvious issue. But in my weight training test, I had no problems. Took them for a quick run, they also stay in fine. They do have the slightest amount of body-borne noise from the impact that I made on the ground and my own heavy breathing. And the mics pick up a little bit of wind when you have the transparency mode on, which you probably want to do when you're running so you can hear your surroundings. So for running, they're usable, just not amazing. And if you like using your earbuds when training, they have an IPX5 water resistant rating. Fine for sweat, use in light rain, you just want to avoid heavy rain or submerging them in water. But if you want to take the fit of your earbuds even further, today's sponsor, Sonicfoam, has your back. So their ear tips are comprised of high quality memory foam that'll shape to your ear canal, massively improving the seal. And when I use these ear tips, there's always a pretty noticeable improvement in noise cancelling strength. In some cases, sound quality as well. I use a medium size here, which is equivalent to most large ear tip sizes, and they fit in the case easily on the Pro 4. You have plenty of sizes and nozzle diameters to choose from, so click the link below and grab yourself some Sonicfoam ear tips. Now, category 3 is case and battery life. You get really solid stuff here. You get 7.5 hours with the buds and 35 hours in total with the case, and that's with noise cancelling on. With noise cancelling off, you get 11 hours on the buds and 52 hours in total. Chuck the buds in the case for 10 minutes and we get 1 hour of playback on the earbuds. You can also charge the case wirelessly, so you get everything you need here. The only buds to rival these numbers are the Soundcore Liberty 4NC, which give you 8 hours on the buds and 40 hours in total. But that case is a bit thicker. The Air Pro 4 case is pretty compact, but it's still on the thickest side. So here it is compared to the thinnest case, the Nothing EA. Still compared to it, not too bad at all. So the total score here is 9 out of 10. The thickness and lack of water resistance are the only thing holding them back, but that is very rare. Only the Nothing EA has actual case water resistance. Now, category 4 is controls. And you get everything you need here, a single, double, triple tap, and long hold. And with these touch controls, you can actually customize each function on the left or right earbud with no limitation. So you can set anything to each function. Earfun is the only brand out of all the earbuds that I've tested that gives you this much freedom. So you can also customize the ambient switching and add noise cancelling off into the mix, or just choose 2 out of the 3. And you also get wearing detection now. So take one or both earbuds out and music will pause, chuck them back in and your music will resume playing. I noticed it would work the best when I would take one or both earbuds out and place it down on like my desk, for example. When I would take a bud out and just like hold it in my hand, for example, a lot of the time the music would just keep playing. And you still can't mute your microphone when you're on a phone call or switch between your noise cancelling and transparency modes, but you can jump into the app and change it there when you're on a phone call. So with all this, they're getting a score of 8.5 out of 10. The OnePlus Buds 3 are scored high since they use a swipe gesture to control volume up and down, which means you're able to control everything, including volume up and down, when using just one earbud at a time. But you do get better customization on the Air Pro 4. Now, category 5 is connectivity. And this is the first earbud that I've tested that just has every codec. The only one missing is LHDC, but it's very rare to get LDAC as well as aptX Adaptive Lossless. Also chuck in Google Fast Pair, you get LA Audio and Auracast for some future proofing. I'm not able to test this anywhere yet, but you can look into this and I think down the track, we might start seeing some of these features come out. You also get multi-point connection, so you can connect two devices to the earbuds at the same time. And it might have multi-point takeover. So how this works is when you play on one device, it will automatically pause on your other device. So I had it connected to my iPhone 15 Pro and my MacBook Pro M1. When I would press play on my iPhone, it would pause on my Mac. But if I would press play on my Mac, it wouldn't pause on my iPhone. So it's like half there, I guess. But to wrap it up here, you can use one earbud while you leave the other in the case. And when using one earbud at a time, it will work in mono mode. So you'll hear the left and right audio channel out of that one earbud. And you also get a low latency gaming mode here, which brings the latency down to a level that's more reasonable if you're into quicker reaction games like shooters. So you're getting everything you need here. It's an easy 10 out of 10. And if you want to compare all these small details with all the earbuds, it's in my spreadsheet link below. Now, category 6 is call quality, and I run through 3 tests here: a quiet room, some simulation crowd noise, and a simulation windy city with some construction city noise, and I use a fan. The final score is the average of all 3 tests. And just before we run through the samples, you can't mute your microphone when you're on a phone call. And the call quality here is about the same overall as the Air Pro 3 and the Free Pro 3. So they're getting a total score of 8. So in the samples, I'm going to compare them to the Air Pro 3 as well as the highest ranked earbud, the Nothing Ear A.
All right, here's the Earfun Air Pro 3 in a quiet room. All right, here's the Earfun Air Pro 4 in a quiet room. All right, here's the Nothing Ear A in a quiet room.
All right, so now we're going to test how the microphones block out some simulation crowd noise.
All right, here's the Earfun Air Pro 3 with some simulation crowd noise. All right, here's the Earfun Air Pro 4 with some simulation crowd noise. All right, here's a Nothing Ear A with some simulation crowd noise.
All right, now I've got some city noise, some construction noise, and some simulation wind.
All right, here's the Earfun Air Pro 3 with some city noise, construction noise, and some simulation wind. All right, here's the Earfun Air Pro 4 with some city noise, construction noise, and simulation wind. All right, here's a Nothing Ear A with some city noise, construction noise, and some simulation wind.
All right, category 7 is app customization and extra features. So I'll touch on all the main features here and go into a bit more detail later. So you can get the app on iOS or Android. And you've got your case and earbud battery at the home page there, your ambient control options, game mode and wearing detection toggle, 10-band EQ with plenty of presets. You have the option to disable your touch controls. Below that, you have the control customization, save devices in there as well. You have some microphone settings, so you can choose to use the left or right earbud only when you're on a phone call. Voice prompt and language settings, LE audio and Google Fast Pair toggle. Find My Headphones feature that will emit a beep from the earbuds. And that's everything. It's a pretty reliable app. It works pretty much all the time. So they're getting a score of 8 out of 10. All right, category 8 is noise cancelling, and how I test my noise cancelling, I check on my soundbar and I'm playing some loud simulation plane noise and crowd noise. So I'm getting some low, middle, high, consistent, as well as some inconsistent sounds. So here are the scores for all the earbuds in the plane noise test, the crowd noise test, and then that final score is the average rounded up to the nearest half. So the Air Pro 4 is actually slightly worse than the Air Pro 3 in the plane noise test, mainly with the low frequency engine sound. It wasn't super noticeable, but the Air Pro 4 let in slightly more of that deep rumble. But it did block out that more higher frequency hiss sound that the plane noise test does have. But it did block out slightly more of that crowd noise. So the total score is 9 out of 10, so it's up there with the best noise cancelling strength in this price range. You also get some decent customization, so you have a balanced option there, which just brings the noise cancelling strength down if you don't need it to be as strong. AI environment setting will adapt the noise cancelling strength dependent on the noise around you, which is good if you don't need the strongest noise cancelling all the time, which can save some battery life. You also have AI ear adaptive that will adjust the strength dependent on how the earbuds are fitting you. But when I was doing my testing, I just had it set to the strongest noise cancelling, which always gave me the strongest noise cancelling. You also get a wind reduction mode, which is going to bring the strength of the noise cancelling down by about 30%, but that's going to completely cut out the microphones from picking up wind if you're walking outside on a windy day. Now, when it comes to EQ shift, this is how your sound quality changes with noise cancelling on compared to transparency compared to noise cancelling off. And what I'm noticing here is about a 5 to 10% treble reduction when you go from noise cancelling on to transparency or noise cancelling off. So not amazing, just something to keep in mind. And to wrap it up here, if you want to use noise cancelling or the transparency mode when using one earbud at a time with the other in the case, that works completely fine. Now into category 9, the transparency mode. And with the scoring here, I'm taking into account how clear and natural the transparency mode is, as well as the amount of white noise hiss and occlusion that there is. So occlusion is when you speak yourself and your own voice sounds muffled with a kind of blocked ear effect. And this is quite a noticeable improvement over the Air Pro 3 and Free Pro 3 because the clarity is spot on. You can hear everything nice and clearly in the distance, talking to someone in front of you. And it's also quite natural with a pretty minimal amount of white noise hiss. I would have scored them higher if they didn't have too much occlusion, so the occlusion is on the moderate side. You also don't get any customization of the strength of the transparency mode, but look, the main thing I look for is out of the box, I just want the transparency mode to sound good, and that's exactly what you're getting here on the Pro 4. But now onto the final round, sound quality. And starting with my max volume test, here are the readings for all the earbuds. So the Air Pro 4 and Pro 3 are on the lower side, but to be honest, I actually don't know how accurate these readings are. I use a sound meter and then stick the ear tip on reverse to create a seal. So anyway, in my testing with the Pro 3 and the Pro 4, I can't really venture past 80%. That's incredibly loud. And just keep in mind when you're venturing above 85 decibels, that's when you start to get into hearing loss territory if you're listening to those volumes for an extended period of time. So basically, you're still getting plenty of volume to play around with here. But now onto the sound itself, and this is usually the only slightly underwhelming feature when it comes to Earfun's earbuds. Because on the Air Pro 3, the stock tuning was a bit muddled, a little bit messy, and it was hard to EQ it. This did get slightly improved in my experience on the Free Pro 3, so you could get them sounding pretty decent. But that's now completely different with the Air Pro 4. So it seems like Earfun is following on with the Earfun Wave Pro, which was the first headphone they released. They had a pretty natural balance tuning out of the box, and you're getting a similar experience here with the Air Pro 4. So it is on the flatter side, it sounds very clean, but it does lack a little bit of personality. But the benefit here is that it gives you a better bass to EQ the buds to your liking, which was a bit trickier on the Air Pro 3 and the Free Pro 3. So this is my go-to EQ. Basically, I'm boosting a little bit of everything here. I am a bit of a bass head, but I like myself a tasteful amount of bass that isn't getting too over the top, so I can still hear some nice clarity with my mids and my treble. So that's what I get with this EQ. The bass is rich, but it's not overpowering. There's some nice deep sub bass, and the mid bass isn't too bloated. I find I can get the mids here to a much nicer level where vocals are at the forefront, but they're still natural and not overpowering. And I can get some pretty nice detail here with the treble. The soundstage is also a little bit wider than both earbuds. My only complaint with the sound is that I found it hard to get the upper treble to a nice level of sparkle that I personally like, but it's still pretty decent. So with this, the overall score they're getting for sound is an 8.5 out of 10, which is up from the 7 I gave the Pro 3 and a 7.5 I gave to the Free Pro 3. So those higher ranked buds like the Sony C700 and Galaxy Buds FE do have a more standout treble response. That's the same with the OnePlus Buds 3, and they also have the advantage of better instrument separation. But to be honest, all the buds that are ranked 8 or higher, it's not a massive discrepancy when it comes to sound quality. Even going from the Earfun Air Pro 4 to the OnePlus Buds 3, it's a point difference, but it really isn't a massive difference. And if you do want to find a bud that has a sound that suits you the best, I do write a little mini review for every single score in there so you can find what works the best for you. But either way you go here, with the Air Pro 4, your stock tuning is quite balanced. You can bring it down to a pretty natural level or go pretty bass boosted. So the freedom that you're getting here, it's gonna work for most people's taste, I find, in any kind of genre you throw at them. And there's also a hearing test you can run through, which will make an EQ for you. But in my experience, it didn't really work very well, but it's there if you need. But that wraps up all 10 categories. And before we go into the final score, this is just my scoring system. It's obviously got my own bias and my own opinions in there. So it really just helps me compare all the small details of all the earbuds easily for my reviews. So if it helps you out as well, that's great. But still, certain categories might matter more for you. That's why I created my custom scoring spreadsheet, free to download, link below. So on there you get every score, notes for each score, specs for easy comparisons, and a core quality section that has a score for all 3 tests. And the personalized scoring is really easy to use. Just fill out a number in the importance column, and that'll multiply the entire category. 0 to get rid of it, 0.5 to halve it, 2 to double it, 5 to 5x it, and that'll change the final score, giving you a new total score for all the earbuds. But here are the final scores, and the Air Pro 4 finishes tied first with 85 out of 100. So they didn't quite beat out the OnePlus Buds 3, but we have a new tied champion. So I think this will be a very common question that I see. Should you go for the Earfun Air Pro 4 or the OnePlus Buds 3? Now, of course, that'll depend on where you're buying them from and where you live and the prices that they're at. But the OnePlus Buds 3 main advantages is slightly better sound quality and the swipe gesture for volume control. The Air 4 Pro has slightly stronger noise cancelling, a slightly clearer transparency mode, and some extra codecs, but apart from those differences, it's incredibly close between the two. You're honestly spoiled for options, even the Soundcore Liberty 4NC, the Nothing EA, Soundcore Sport X20, all solid options, very close in overall quality. Again, check out the spreadsheet and figure out for yourself what specific differences will matter more to you. If you want to learn more about the OnePlus Buds 3 though, check out my full review right here. Thanks a lot for tuning in, stay picky, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.